Yeah, even nations, and that song in particular,
Yeah.
went just all over, all over the world. Um, but it didn't just come out of me sitting in my room on my own, although I spent a lot of time working on the song in my room on my own.
Yes.
But at that time, I was so much a part of a movement, not just one movement, but there were many movements that actually were in good relationship with one another. And I was in a church in London, which had a very strong vision for the gospel on many levels. It was social action. It was reaching out to the poor and justice issues and so on.
Yes.
It was also preaching the gospel. It was prayer. It was mission. It was mission to wherever, any end to the ends of the earth, And so in that atmosphere, there was a sense in which I wasn't just writing my songs, I was trying to write the song of the church. I was trying to write the song that we needed to sing, and that certainly became a feature. It just became natural actually because I was part of that movement. I was doing what we did. I was taking part in the mission of the church. So I just sang what we were doing and who we saw we were, and tried to make it as broad as possible. Because actually, everybody, in these movements, we shared that same vision. And there was a sense in which the church had been hiding away, there'd been a few decades of decline in the church, and now a new generation was rising. And we started to believe we could actually impact the nation and the nations. Before it was just survival,
Right.
like in English we call a siege mentality. It's like, we're this little church, and we just got to build the walls a little higher because, otherwise we're going to disappear entirely.
Yeah.
And now we were taking the walls off the church and we were thinking, yeah, we have a great God. He can do great things.
Yeah.
So I think that song in particular caught a sense of hope and excitement and vision. It was a moment. It was a moment.
Yeah. There are other songs like We Believe, and it wasn't about us, it was about him.
Yeah.
It was gathering us for him, for his purposes, to glorify him. And that's what was expressed in your songs. And all really worship songs are about him and how we can react to who he is, even if it's personal.
I mean, throughout the ages, there are always different emphases that come in the church, and usually songs are written out of the bigger picture that's happening and the emphases that there are, and that can be a very good thing because you can go back to different periods of church history, and through the hymns and songs, you can tell what was important to that generation. And it may be that you think, oh my goodness, we should be singing about that now. They sang about that, 500 years ago or something. And we're in danger, so we can learn a great deal from previous generations and try to bring a balance. But I think one of the things that I've seen, and I'm sure we're in again a time of balance, that, there was this missional vision, particularly in the 80s. And we sang about going to the ends of the earth and preach the gospel and make disciples and so on. And then I think there was also an area that perhaps was neglected, that of intimacy, where, there was a stream that flowed in, which was very, very good, in which helped us to draw closer to Christ in intimate times of worship. And there was a moment where those flowed together, and learned from each other. And this is one of the great things about streams of worship. If we isolate those streams, then we can become unbalanced. But if we let those streams flow together, then we can draw strength from one another and get balance between, they're doing that over there and they're doing it here. So, I think there is, if you talk about intimacy, if you emphasize that, the church starts to look inwards. If we only ever sing songs about me and God, we forget many things. We forget actually we are a community,
Right.
And we need also songs about community, about us together, The scripture describes worship as both vertical and horizontal. Speak to one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs,
right.
Giving thanks to the Lord from your heart. It's vertical and horizontal. And so we need, I think of it, just picking up some words that somebody else, we need intimacy and majesty together, We need to proclaim the Jesus who is the Lord of the earth and King of the nations, and who has his massive purposes.
Yeah.
But also we need to draw near to the Jesus who's the friend of sinners and who's a healer, and, So it's finding that balance. And sometimes by learning from different streams and different movements, we can begin to find that balance.
Yeah.